lunchtime. This is the same day where I went out early in the morning, went for a long walk along the canals and ranted for over an hour about KineMaster and how the audio no longer syncs with the video. So that was my morning, and I'm feeling hungry now, so I thought I'd walk out and get some lunch. In the meantime, I've been sitting inside a coffee shop and learning how to use my new editing program, Adobe Premiere Rush. Oh man. The good news is I kind of finished a rough cut of a video, and then just as a test I exported it, and as far as I can tell, the audio and the video are in sync. The weird thing is you can never quite be sure anymore, because I initially played the final video using the VLC media player, and the audio was basically in sync, but it was just like a few milliseconds off. You could see it wasn't quite right, and that really annoys me when the sound doesn't match perfectly with what you physically see. It drives me crazy. And I know most people wouldn't even notice, but I notice, and it bothers me. So I thought, oh, even Adobe Premiere Rush doesn't quite get the audio lined up. But then I didn't use VLC media player. I just started the video using sort of the built-in Samsung media player, whatever it is. All you do is click on the file and it starts playing instantly. I don't even know what it's using to play. But when I use that package, then it's more in sync. Then it seems to be lined up perfectly. So in fact, that tiny delay of a few milliseconds wasn't introduced by Adobe Premiere Rush. It was coming from VLC media player on my phone. So even when there is a problem, half the time you don't know where the problem is coming from. You can't jump to conclusions. I feel like I walked past my lunch place. No, I think it's further up. So this is where lunch is going to happen today. It's a very popular spot for lunch. And they make, pretty basic bowls of noodles, things like that. So I'm sure I can get something tasty here. Hello. Hi. So this is where all the noodle construction takes place. It looks like people just they write down their order on these little slips of paper and submit the order here. Again, that's where they're preparing my noodles. I just ordered a basic bowl of noodles with veggies and duck. I don't actually even know the Thai name for the dish, to be honest, but pointing and sign language works just fine. Yeah, very interesting looking place. As I said, that's where they do the cooking, and you can wash your hands here. And then up here, yeah, they have another seating area. Just for fun, I think maybe I'll take a seat up there. There's a little table over there. It looks very nice. And then they have the seating out here. This looks like one of these remove your shoes areas. So I'm gonna pop off my sandals, come up here. Oh, look at this. I wonder if this is part of the restaurant, or over here, are we straying into, okay, that's the office for the place. And yeah, and then some more. Oh, okay, so each table is numbered. This is table number 9. And there appear to be rooms here too. There's a door behind that curtain and another door there. Maybe people live here, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm gonna have a seat here and wait for my duck noodles to show up. I found a convenient place to mount my GoPro over there. As I said, it looks like the system here is simply like a notebook at each table. And yeah, it's just like a school or some notebook you could buy at any stationery store. The pen, and then you just have to know what it is they make here, and you write down the name of it. So it's not like ordering from a menu. That's always the first challenge going into any restaurant overseas. Really, is what's the system? You know, how do you order? And you kind of have to be pretty personal about it. I find I often just go into the kitchen where they're cooking and I see what the ingredients are if I don't speak the local language at all. And if there's no menu to point at, you know, you just go into the kitchen and point at some ingredients. And I'm such a dummy, I end up doing this mixing motion. You know, I'll point at the noodles and the duck and the vegetables and just sort of indicate, like, whatever you make here with those ingredients, just mix it all together and make that, and I'll be happy. So my weakness is always never being able to speak the local language, but my strength, I guess, is that I don't really care that much about what I eat. Sort of, I point, and if I don't get what I thought I pointed at, I'm fine with it. I'll enjoy whatever comes to the table. So as long as you relax, you always end up with something to eat, right? Oh. And I think you can help yourself to some drinking water here. So I'm going to go off in search of some water. I saw one man going back to his table with a glass of ice water. See if I can track that down. Oh, I got my ice water. It was actually very cool. I'll actually grab the camera and take it down there and show you what it looks like. It's like a serve yourself ice water extravaganza. Oh. So here it is right over here, this kind of a self-serve area. So here in this big red bucket is all the ice you could ever want. And you can help yourself to a cup there. And then once you have your ice in a cup, they have this big blue tank with a giant nozzle on it. And you twist that and water comes pouring out. And I guess you can add more bean sprouts and lettuce to your noodles here. So yeah, very, very cool. As always, small things entertain me, but I'm always interested in systems, how places work, especially a new restaurant you go to and you want to figure out, how do you get water there? How do you get something to drink? And when a place has a really efficient system like that and beautifully laid out, and yeah, I just really admire that. I think it's worth pointing out. My bowl of noodles with duck has arrived. Looks really good. Oh, I'm so hungry as usual. Anything at all would look good. And when the woman brought up the food, she turned on a small fan up there on the wall and then a big one over here because it was getting quite hot up here. Because that's one disadvantage. As soon as you start climbing upwards into the scenic balcony, heat rises. So yeah, it's pretty hot up here. So it's nice of her to turn on the fans. Let me grab the camera and show you what my meal looks like. Though it's not anything so unusual, but hey, show you my lunch. So there we are, with duck on top, and then noodles underneath, and then some, I believe, this is sort of like a blood sort of thing. I always forget the name of that. And then I guess I could add some lettuce and bean sprouts from the bean sprout station down below. Okay, let's give this a try. Very tasty. The one thing about meals like this, especially when it consists of like a lot of chopped duck or something like that, I've already run into one or two big pieces of bone, and it's kind of the bane of my existence because I keep biting down on the bone, and that's how I keep snapping teeth. And not long ago, as I mentioned in a previous video, snapped a tooth here on the back, and I don't want to snap another one, so I have to sort of feel my way through the duck pieces here. But you forget to do that, right? You're just eating and you're just chewing away. And it's hard to concentrate to make sure that there are no bones hiding in there. As expected, I powered through that bowl of noodles with duck and blood pudding, or whatever you call that stuff. Very tasty. Not heavily spiced, not heavily flavored. I think they leave a lot of spicing on the table if you want to really, heat it up and get it nice and hot, which I generally don't want to do. I'm happy with the flavor of whatever comes out of the kitchen for the most part. And I'm down to the broth now in the bottom, so you get a spoon with it as well as the chopsticks. And the broth is always such a pleasure on these bowls of noodles. This bowl has a kind of a sweetened broth. Feels like a meal on its own, just the broth. The one odd thing about these lunches, I love them. I mean, this is my favorite kind of lunch. This is my favorite type of lunch spot. Simple, bowl of noodles, veggies, you're good to go. But in all honesty, I could have 2 of these for a lunch, and even after 2 of them, I'm not sure I would feel full, like I've actually had a satisfying meal. I think I'd have to have 3 of them to get that full, now I feel full kind of feeling. But I guess that's mainly because I don't eat that often during a day. If you're eating regular meals 3 or 4 times a day, then this would probably suit you quite well. But I tend to go long periods of time eating nothing at all. So when I eat a meal, it kind of has to cover me for the next 18 hours sort of thing. So I need a lot at one sitting. But I have been known to cause a fair amount of confusion where I've had a bowl of noodles like this, and then I go back up to the serving area and ask them for a second bowl. But of course, they're not used to that happening, so they're sort of looking at me, trying to guess what it is I want. And they think I want to pay, of course, because that's what normally happens. You have your bowl of noodles and then you pay for them. To have a customer come up and try to order a second bowl can lead to a lot of confusion. So sometimes I may want a second bowl, but I don't do it just because I know how confusing that will become. So what I need to do is finish this transaction, go outside, walk around the block, come back in, sit down and order a second one. And then maybe that will keep it nice and clear what I want. And then they'll just conclude that I'm completely insane. So, but that's okay. I was thinking this morning that because I'm having so many technological problems with cameras and software packages and these sorts of things, smartphones, I talk a lot about all of that. And all of that stuff is what you would call behind the scenes, right? I mean, ostensibly, a video that I post on YouTube should be about my life here in Mae Sot, Thailand. That's what I'm making videos about. Those, yeah, that's the subject matter, more or less, and my thoughts about anything I happen to be thinking about. But if I'm constantly talking about the technology that I'm using to create those videos, that's actually behind the scenes, isn't it? So there's kind of a balance in these videos. Like, what kind of a balance do you want between behind the scenes content and scene? Like, scene would be me enjoying a bowl of noodles here at this little restaurant. That is scene. Behind the scenes is me walking here, finding the place, figuring out how to order, all that kind of stuff. That's all behind the scenes, as well as setting up the camera, what resolution I'm shooting in, which is 1080p, by the way. I'm trying to keep things really simple for now. No 4K at the moment, no camera reception. I've only got GoPro Hero 9 Black running. I've got so much technology going on, I can't have complicated setups. So I talk about all that kind of stuff, but that's all behind the scenes. And I guess the hope is that eventually all the technology problems sort themselves out, and then you get more scene, less behind the scenes, you know? I enjoy behind the scenes stuff myself. I love to know how people do things. Even here in a restaurant, the focus should be how good is the food, but I'm really interested in the systems, you know? How do you order? How do they get their ingredients? Who gets the ingredients? You know, how early in the morning do they wake up every day to go to the market, buy fresh duck, fish, chicken? Who's preparing it? Where's the kitchen? How do they keep it preserved and during the heat of the day? How do they know how much to order for one day so that they don't end up with a huge amount of waste at the end of the day? You know, there's like a million aspects to running even a little restaurant like this. And I guess technically that's all behind the scenes. The food is the scene, but in a way I'm just as interested in behind the scenes as I am in scene. Maybe more interested in behind the scenes. So yeah, I was thinking about that also because someone mentioned a YouTube channel to me called Dancing Bacons. And it's a food channel. And it's an interesting channel because there's no talking at all. There's no narration. I don't think there's any music. I don't think there's anything. It's just food. They go out and eat stuff, and then they take a camera and they film. I've only seen one or two videos so far, but they don't seem to even film themselves very much. They just film the food, camera pointing away from them. There's the food. It's being prepared. Here's more food. It's being prepared. Here's food on the table. And they just sort of, maybe the purest expression of scene with zero behind the scenes, like not even any narration or even description of the food. But it's an extremely popular channel with like 2 million subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views per video. So you can't argue with that. I saw a bowl of food over there, so I thought there had to be a resident cat or dog living here, and the cat finally showed up for lunch. And look who came to visit. Just had a good lunch, so he decided to take a nap. Hey buddy. He's got some foamy decoration for today. Saw a little girl playing with him downstairs, and she must have put this around him as a kind of a necklace. It's not tight or anything, it's just a piece of foam, so I'll just leave it there, huh? Hey. Looks like there's a whole family of kittens. Beautiful coloring on this one. Hey there. Just for context, this is where I just had lunch, over here on the right. And there's another small spot over there on the left. Yeah, really nice spot. There's a load. And my bowl of duck noodles, or noodles with duck, came to 30 baht. So in terms of having 2 bowls for lunch, in terms of the price, it would be more than reasonable to do that. 30 baht is about $1, I guess, $1 US. So pretty good deal. Noodles, duck, and 2 kitten encounters. Doesn't get any better than that. And it's not far away from my guest house, this spot. No need to hop on the scooter to get here. So that's it for my lunch adventure. Shut down the video here. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.